I'm the man, yes sir, to kill the bear barehanded so the people won't forget it. Getting money for our legal to drink. I care what a broke nigga think.
Just like the pack of Lewis.
Look, everything I do so cold. I can do this, both eyes closed. Too short, I stay on my toes. About that guap boy, anything goes. Help the bear if we outside. Help the bear if we outside. Still tipping, baby, nothing changed. I'm still grinding over here, yeah. Still sliding through my own lane. Shorty, nothing funny over here. Dollars rain everywhere around me. Dream to get money. Made it through the storm, living sunny. Dreams came true, now we eating. I got more dreams to chase, gotta reach them. Trying to put a team together like the Hunger Games. Everybody grinding because we all came from hunger.
That's right. Late Ill Kid at OneYoungsta, hold it down. Bringing that Street Geek and Nerd Soul. What is up, my people? Today all year, coming with another wonderful episode of That's Right, Nerd Soul on Screen. We talk about them TV shows, movies, and all that jazz. Thank you for rolling through. If you're brand new, hit a thumbs up for the future life. Or you can hit that thumbs down so you can turn around and hit the thumbs up again. And make sure to subscribe, share this out to your folks. This is NERDSoul, of course, Hip Hop and Geek put together. We are talking about Motherland Fort Salem. I want to give a big shout out before we even get started to the homies Blurtish. That's right. Dynamic duo from the South. Love y'all dudes. Y'all be killing it. Big shout out to Keith. Big shout out to Mark Dub. You know what I'm saying? Podcasts, books, t-shirts, all that jazz. Check them out. Also, big shout out to Patreon supporters out there doing their thing. Much love to y'all. Like, look, every bit helps, every penny, you know what I'm saying? Now, don't get me wrong. We like the type of money that jingles, but we rather the type it folds. But any, you know what I'm saying, all helps. Cords, light bulbs, batteries, whatever, helps out. But we here to talk about Motherland Fort Salem. That's right. Motherland. Okay, all right. Before I talk about Motherland Fort Salem, I want to take y'all back because some of y'all might remember me reviewing season 1, you know, and talking about my feelings. So if you're brand new and, you know, you're like, hey, I didn't see the season 1 as far back, I can't even find the video. When I first heard or saw this show, there was a billboard around my neighborhood. And I saw it and I was like, this looks stupid. Like straight up, I was like, I don't want to watch this show. It looks pointless. Who cares about some little, you know, girls playing cadet or something and some witch stuff? I don't want to watch this. And for some reason, like since the billboard, you know, you drive by the billboard so much, I'm like, you know what? Let me watch the show. You know what I'm saying? Let me take one episode and see how it is. And I love this show. Straight up, Motherland Fort Salem might be one of my favorite shows on the low. No, not even on the low. Like straight up, Motherland Fort Salem is dope on many levels. And we'll get into it. We're just looking back at season 2, how we feel about it, because of course it's been announced that they are getting to season 3, but season 3 will be its final season. And I was just thinking about, I was watching the finale a night or so ago, and just being like, man, this show is way better than like it has any right to be. And also way better, it's a show that you would not expect to be on Freeform. So I guess you know what, before I get going on my full feelings on season 2, I watched this show with Lady Lisa. You know what I'm saying? My wife, Lady Lisa, is right here. Lady Lisa, how do you feel about this show in general? Because I know this show isn't your thing, but how do you feel about this show in general?
Like I was, saying to you the other night, I like that it's girl power.
It's girl power.
But they're not screaming.
But they're not screaming it.
It's not like, throw away all the men. We don't need you.
So she digs that it's girl power, but you ain't got to throw out all the men, and it's still like it clearly establishes them as like, like a matriarchy or whatever, but nothing where it's like undercutting any of the like the male characters or whatever. And they don't go, it's weird. Sometimes shows go too far to pat themselves on the back for putting women in leading roles, but I feel like this show just lets it play out without working extra hard to be like, see, we've got women. Do you see we've got women in there? Now, hold on, let me make sure y'all get the blurtish. I gotta make sure y'all get the blurtish up in there. I ain't gonna steal your room. But with me, this show does something that I wish a lot of shows would do. I'll start off with this, and usually I put this on the back end, but I'll put this on the front. This show has more than just one villain. And a lot of shows, we get, you got the good side and you got the bad side. And that's pretty much it. You got the rebels and the empire or something like that. It's kind of like that. But in this show, we got the military, which is kind of our viewpoint in the show. Then you got the spree, which is, you got the witches, but they ain't vibing, and we'll talk about why and everything, but they ain't vibing, and they're like I guess, the terrorist group of the show. But then you also got the Camarilla, which is like, humans that just not, they just ain't feeling it. You know what I'm saying? They're not feeling witches. They want them gone. They want them dead. They want them all burnt up. They ain't feeling it. But on top of that, we also have the standard traditional government as well, which is kind of throwing a monkey wrench in the story from time to time. And I like these moving parts because it references a real world in a way where there's not just two sides to this, and that's it. There's just, we see during season 2, we see the public reaction to the military kind of, I guess, trying to propagandize the drafting movement and everything, and trying to, raise up awareness for the draft. People aren't feeling Alder. People aren't feeling the witches in general. And people aren't super happy about the power that the military has. And it plays out in many ways similar to kind of how X-Men plays out. Like, you got like the humans and the mutants kind of protect them from time to time. I mean, more so with the witches here in Motherland Fort Salem, because the X-Men are they're not the military, but you have this situation where they protect people and they save people and stuff, but there is this hard line with a lot of humans, or I guess, because witches are human too, I guess non-powered, I guess just regular old civilian need people. But and what up, Jenna James? Nice to see you up in here. And that hard line between them and the witches this season not only seemed natural in the sense of the show, but it also came through in a way where the tension felt earned after the first season laid the groundwork of, like, you got these witches that, it's kind of set in stone that you have to serve, because if you don't serve, the humans really see no other purpose for you, and they're more scared of you than happy to have you working in the military anyway. And to see that relationship with the public and the military was, I think, very, very important this season. And that was a plus, super plus for me. Another plus for me was seeing everybody, I'd say everybody, from the good guys to the sort of good guys that we'll talk about in a little bit, to the bad guys, to even the standard traditional government, everyone leveled up this season. Like, everyone's story got deeper. We got some conspiracy stuff. We got some, we got some cover-ups. We got some love. We got some hate. We got a lot of growth and a lot of, I guess you can say, a lot of exposure to everyone's point of view. Whether it was the Camarilla, kind of getting speeches from Scylla and I can't think of her, Demetria's character. Demetria is the actress's name, and I can't think, Anacostia. So Scylla and Anacostia, or if you're talking about from Alder to Petra, or Alder to, of course, Tally, who we'll talk about. And even from the vice president's, I guess, attitude towards his daughter, and also his attitude towards the military as well, along with the president. Now, of course, we've already seen the season, so we know kind of like the vice president and everything, but I'm just talking about in general over the course of the season. And I like the fact that everyone leveled up. It didn't seem, you know what? This show doesn't really have a lot of wasted scenes. I can't think of a scene this season where I was like, this is pointless. Why is it here? We don't need to talk about this. It's not moving the plot. Another thing about everyone leveling up this season is that this season and this show in general, there's not a lot of filler. And I'm trying to think of particular filler elements in this show, but this show gets straight to it. Like, this show moves you along and you learn so much. The main things that I'm glad that we learned about, we got to set in stone Rael's mom. Because in season 1, she did say it was her daughter, but we didn't know, or at least I didn't know, if she meant daughter like literal daughter or daughter in the way that Alder says all of these young girls that are in the military are her daughters. So you got that. I like the fact that Scylla really grew this season. Scylla grew. Oh man, let me pull up the young brother from the Tarim, the guy who's with Abigail. Oh man, y'all gonna make me pull up this man's name. But you have him growing, his sister growing, but you also have kind of Adil, that's his name. Adil, he grew a lot, especially with the perspective of what, kind of being nonviolent and stuff like that. So there was a lot of growth there. And shout out to Jenna James says, agreed, this show don't waste time with petty filler like CW counterpart genre shows. Yeah, this is a genre show that makes sure that they give you like important things every episode. And we're not wasting time just sitting in a room doing nothing. But the moments with like Adil and his sister, even early on in the season when the virus attacks with the train, their attitude from there all the way into the end of the season where, they had to kill to protect one another, or Adil had to kill to rescue these young girls. And then, of course, his sister had to kill to protect him. And kind of changing their perspective. And Lady Lisa and I were watching. I was like, yeah, see, philosophy is great until someone's about to stab your brother. Like, philosophy is all good until. But another thing that we got to see that I thought was sad was Rael's father. Because it's sad to see where he is and how much the death of his wife broke him. And the fact that he never got a chance to say goodbye to her. And even Rael got a chance to say goodbye, in so many words. But I mean, like she said, it broke her dad. And to see him trying the job that he does acting and trying to, or showing someone who's trying to smile while they're still feeling bad, like when Rael comes home, he's still worried for her in the military and stuff, but he's trying to smile and have a good time. And then seeing his connection with Scylla later on, I think it's good for him. I like that. And that's something that I think is really, really dope in the show. and I dig a lot. Someone else who I think is dope in this show, or something that I think in general is dope in this show, is how they handled Tally in season 2. Okay, season 1, Tally was cool, but I felt like she was kind of the third wheel, of course, because it's 3 people, but she just seemed kind of like she was just kind of life was happening to her, kind of. And the level up in season 2 of getting the sight and everything, and the growth from being a biddy to kind of being released from the biddyism or whatever, really leveled her up. Her confidence has changed, taking charge, protecting Nicta, taking on Alder one-on-one. Like, Tally boss level this season. But then you also got to look at Abigail, like, she went from someone who was definitely afraid and really affected, like seriously affected by the death of her sister and being targeted by the Camarilla because, her family line is so, like, important and everything. And turning around and creating a new power with the joining tornadoes and stuff, and taking the fight to the Camarilla. And then also impressing upon not only Alder, but her mother, how important that fight is for her, and the fight is for, the witches in general. And sidebar, seeing I believe 4 generations, might be 3, but I believe it's 4 generations of the bellwethers in one setting was awesome. It was awesome seeing the ladies there representing. I thought it was dope. I was like, because in season 1, I still don't think I've ever seen a Black mother-daughter duo fight back to back to the death against attackers. And that scene was crazy. I mean, unfortunately, her sister died, but still, that scene alone was a dope scene. And Petra's awesome. Abigail's awesome. So I love that part where they kind of went to her home and saw, the My Three Dads episode. But shout out to Jenna James said, if Abigail and Adil have a daughter, she will be the most powerful witch the world's ever seen. I agree. And I'm here for it. Having Adil calm persona and Abby explosive tendencies, let's pray for any enemy that come her way. May the prophecy come true, goddess protect. Word up. Yeah, you know what? I think Adil is good for her because he's so kind of reserved. Now, I'm going to be honest. I would prefer a brother. But Adil is cool. You know what I'm saying? He cool in my book. I ain't got no problems with it. Adil, all right. And, when you can, like, crumble a whole house, you know what I'm saying, with, like, one breath, you got to give him props. Jenna James says, I wonder if there might be a spinoff. I don't know. Would you be interested in a spinoff? Like, because I love the main story so much. I don't know if I'd be interested in a spinoff. But maybe there's a spinoff to be had. Throw me some ideas, Jenna. Let's spitball this for a second. All right, so spinoff. How would I spin off this show? Well, you could, due to the way season 2 ended, you could have the disbanding of the military and a show about our last heroes with Nicta, Tally, Abigail. You could have them kind of on some A-Team type stuff on their own. I mean, I guess you could do that, but I mean, you're still kind of following the same story. I don't know how you can do. Yeah, Lady Lisa said you could do the formation of the spree, so you can actually jump back, do a prequel, and run it like that. Shouts to Jenna James said, also, side note, if Disney is smart, I'd stay in-house. The lead actresses would be nice options for future MCU projects. Yo, I ain't gonna front. I would roll them right into some X-Men stuff so fast because all three of them are dope and they got great chemistry already. I like Petra. I like the woman that plays Alder. I mean, even though I hate her, but she's acting so good that she makes me hate her. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, the whole cast is like, there's nobody whack on the show. Shouts to Hitflix says, I was surprised by this show. It's pretty good. I've only watched a few episodes, but I plan to go back and watch season 1 and all of season 2 before season 3 comes out. Yeah, I'm going to run it back as well before season 3. And I think season 3 is probably slated for next year because they start filming in November. So probably like next fall, I guess. But yeah, like, yeah, Star Wars projects, anything like that, because the whole cast, from the dude that Tally is kind of in love with, sort of, he's cool. Petra's dope. The Anacostia is dope. Scylla's dope. Alder. You know I love D for Moesha. D, come on, man, it's D. So D's cool. Like, man, it's a shame that this show is ending next season, but it's good because at least they're able to write and direct a true ending for this show. Instead of kind of like, you know how shows that are kind of like running like a well-oiled machine and they just get canceled. Unless they don't end the story, unless they leave it like kind of like Sopranos or The Wire, where like, and the world keeps spinning, kind of ending. You know what I'm saying? It's like at the end of The Wire, like the game didn't stop, like, you know, and the cops didn't really win, and the, you know, the drug dealers didn't really win, and the government or the Justice Department, you know, in Maryland didn't really win. You know what I'm saying? But Jenna James says Jessica Sutton would be a good Jean Grey or Crystal the Inhuman. Man, should Marvel even touch Inhumans anymore? But back to this show. Some of the highlights that I love is the mycelial, the kind of the mycelium or whatever, the mycelial network. And I might be taking mycelial network from Star Trek Discovery, so please excuse me. But you know, mycelium, mycelial, all them my cyclical words, they be fusing together. But I really, really like Rael. Sans her haircut or her hairstyle, I still hate the braids on the side and the fluff on the other. I hate that. But she's gone. Even though I enjoyed season 1, her growth from being kind of, would pouty be the word? Her growth from being kind of pouty to kind of coming into her own as the witch bomb, as, you know, a member of this sisterhood of the team, the unit she's in. Not bickering and fighting with her sisters like they did kind of in season 1. I really enjoyed her scenes together. The stuff with Scylla seemed way less melodramatic than season 1. And now I think Scylla is someone that I could be down with her being with. Like in season 1, I was like, yo, she's clearly a villain, bro. Like, she's clearly a villain. And remember when she was in season 1, she was like, I'm in love with you or whatever. I'm like, how you don't know this woman? But in this season, when she said that she loves Scylla, I was like, you know what? I feel like it's earned now. They spent their time apart. They've grown so much. And to see how their feelings for one another still stayed, I was like, you know what? I feel like it's earned now more so than season 1. In season 1, I think Rael was just infatuated and just threw the L word on there. You know, she was putting 100 on 10. But in season 2, I felt like it was earned. And I think that's the biggest thing. The biggest takeaway for me for season 2 is that everything feels earned. Nothing comes off as like as like a cheap shot in this show. And that's a good thing. That's a very good thing. Nothing comes off as, contrived or manufactured. There's a natural progression with the spree. There's a natural progression with the Camarilla. There's a natural progression with the relationship with Abigail, Petra and Alder. And then the whole situation with Nicta, which I'm going to talk about in a second. It just really, really comes together as a show that's well thought out, and they don't pull any punches and they don't waste any time. Shouts to Jenna James saying Alder send-off was so emotional, seeing Anacostia crying, but good news is that Alder lives. Yeah, now, I'm of two minds with Alder. I still don't like her. Lady Lisa says she don't like her either. I still don't like her, but she did, in effect, learn her lesson and begin to atone before she died. So, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Because remember, she took off her stuff and she was like, yo, Petra, what you need me to do? You know what I'm saying? She was like, look, because she could have stomped off and been like, you took my army from me. I ain't never gonna help. But she didn't do that. She took off her stripes and stuff. And she was like, look, I'm here to help. What you need me to do? You know what I'm saying? And she also, that speech about like, I want y'all to be better than me. I don't want you to make the mistakes that I made and stuff like that. When she was talking to all the cadets or the troops or whatever. I feel like she was on a path to redemption, but still had to die for the mistakes that she made. Okay. True. Okay. So Lady Lisa says it's forced redemption because she didn't do that on her own. They had to come and take her down, and everybody had to stand up in front of her. So I guess I get you on that one too. Jenna James saying Alder is the creator of the mycelium, and now we can see its magic. Yeah. So that's another thing that's going to be interesting now that she's, I guess, bonded with her own creation. I am interested to see how that plays out now and what it becomes. Continuing on, Jenna says, I wish she got a new power in this healing process that she can find out the truth of Camarilla and wipe it out from the earth completely, and at the end reelect as the new head of witches. Also, I wish that Abigail and Adil will marry and have a child, and that child bring a new dawn for the witches. That could be cool. That could be interesting. But we got so much conspiracy with the vice president trying to take out the regular president, as well as killing his own daughter, as well as being one of the Camarilla. And the funny thing is, when the dude pinned the thing on his daughter and he walked away, I was like, hold up, why aren't they showing his face? And I was like, because they're going to do the reveal later. Because I was like, yo, is that the dude is that the Camarilla dude? Like, and also, the Camarilla are like, yo, they sneaky, son. They be getting, they got Rael, they got onto the base. Like, yo, them cats is serious. But with that said, I do want to touch on Nicta and her situation before we wrap. Giving Tally something to do could have ended up being corny. It could have ended up being kind of like filler and a time waster. But you not only gave Tally something to do that grew her as a person, as a troop or a cadet or a private, whatever she is, and as a witch, but it also informed on Alder's past, the past of the spree, and also the two sides of the coin that Alder and Nicta are. You know, being like, you know, I think D was like, you know, the kind of like your closeness to the creation of the spree, like, yo, we can't keep you around like that. So I am extremely happy we got to see this turn and tally, and then learning how these people that had given themselves up, had already surrendered and everything, and Alder using Nicta's power to completely just decimate them for no reason. They were completely, you know, unarmed or whatever. Shows that it's definitely enough to turn someone against you. And turn you against them, it did. And she even said, like, hey, I've only killed as many humans as witches that have been killed. But then seeing her being faced with the leader of the Camarilla saying, thank you. You know, if it wasn't for you, our numbers wouldn't be up. Like you are the one that's helping us recruit people. So seeing how this machine kind of fed each other, Alder needed the spree so that they could remain in kind of like military power, because if the witches, if there wasn't a boogeyman for people to be scared of, they might then say we don't need the witches, and if the witches aren't here to protect us and we don't need them, then we can kill them like we were going to do way back in the beginning of witch time or whatever. So Alder needs the spree to survive, but then the Camarilla also need the spree to justify the movements that they're making against them. It's so interesting how they weave that story thread between these three organizations that are at each other's throats, but so closely connected when it comes to their existence. You know what I'm saying? So with that said, I mean, there's tons of stuff we can, you know, get it on in the comments and talk about how much we love this show. This show, probably my top 5 for this year. This show is dope, man. Like this show, Star Trek Discovery, even even the new joint that I'm on, Law and Order, Organized Crime, boy. Got your boy Stabler with the beard out. But this is one of my favorite shows. Extremely good, well written, that I can think of, no filler right now. I mean, I'm sure there's probably a scene here or there, but everything that I can think of, every scene matters to something in the story or someone's story in the, you know, in the, I guess, furtherance of the plot. Show is on point, man. And I just wanted to look back at season 2 and be like, yo, show is flames. The show is flames for real. Also, before we get out of here, I have started up the newsletter, got the mailing list going. So if you want to be on the mailing list, I'll be doing surveys, gifts, all kinds of stuff, letting y'all know about the shows that's coming out. Go in and DM me your email. I will add you to the mailing list, all that good stuff. But don't forget, NERDSoul, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all them places. Hit that thumbs up if you like what you're seeing. Hit that thumbs down if you don't. But if you hit that thumbs down, I'm going to send Nicta after you. All right? And she be burning people to the crisp. All right? You don't want that. Do you want to be burnt up? All you got to do is hit the thumbs up. Go in and subscribe. We heading up. You know what? It's crazy. But we're gonna try to hit 10K by the end of this year. Yeah, we're gonna do that. So, of course, podcast for listening, Spotify for that music. Big shout out to Jenna James for coming through. Hitflix, what up? Nice to see you. Big shout out to all the Patreon supporters like Eon001, Enrique Carrion with his awesome comic called Phenomic. Thought Crimes, Tyler Bennett and his crazy self. All y'all, thank you so much for the support of the show. We will be here tomorrow. We got Beast Vibes Life We got sports tomorrow. Sunday, we got What If finale, and we got some Titans. We're going to be talking Titans on Sunday night. And tomorrow morning, I might stream the tabletop game, the game that I'll be playing with Solar Gray that you've seen on the channel as well. Shouts to him and Back of the Deck Production. So big shout out to Jenna James saying Nick de Batan guides her spree to kill Camaria and joins the Fort Salem as the new teacher. That could be interesting because I do like the current, the current line of respect between her and Petra. Because Petra was like, yo, we ain't gonna have no problems, is we? You know what I'm saying? We ain't gonna have no problems yet. Now, shouts to Jenna James. Yes, Doom Patrol. I'm gonna get to that. I've been covering Doom Patrol since it started, so I ain't gonna forget about Doom Patrol, but we do got a lot of shows. Shout out to Squid Games too. Haven't watched it yet because there's a lot of, the good thing is that there's a lot of stuff to watch. That's a good thing. We have a very good problem right now in, geek, genre, entertainment, whatever. There's tons of stuff out there. If you don't like one thing, you can find something else. So shouts to ZSB Lou. Thanks for coming through, y'all. Don't forget, DM me y'all email address if you want to be on the email list. Also, big shout out to everybody who's subscribing, hitting up your boy. Stargirl, we'll see. I don't know about that one. It's CW, man. I don't know. But with that said, I'm leaving y'all with PL Parker Lewis and Arcatron. Some dope stuff, man. I ain't going to tell y'all no lies, man. PL be killing it. Get that Help the Bear in stores now. So, of course, from me to you, thank you for watching. I'll see y'all next time. And peace. We out. See y'all later.
I'm the man, yes sir, that killed the bear barehanded so the people won't forget it. Getting money for our legal to drink. I care what a broke bigger thing.
Just like the pack of Lewis.
Look, everything I do so cold. I can do this, both eyes closed. Too short, I stay on my toes. About that guap boy, anything goes. Help the bear if we outside. Help the bear if we outside. Still tipping, baby, nothing changed. I'm still grinding over here, yeah. Still sliding through my own lane. Shorty, nothing funny over here. Dallas rain everywhere around me. Dream to get money. Made it through the storm, living sunny. Dreams came true, now we eating. I got more dreams to chase, gotta reach them. Trying to put a team together like the Hunger Games. Everybody grinding cause we all get hunger.